It's about time that men are separated from the boys, about time that we separate real contenders from pretenders, and for boxing lovers, most especially Jake Paul critics, it's about time we separate the YouTubers from professional boxers. Jake Paul, YouTube controversial star with over 20 million YouTube subscribers and who made a name for himself in the boxing world by defeating fellow YouTuber Aneeson Gibb and former NBA player Nate Robinson, has now made up mind to take on a real professional opponent that would match his current skill level and no longer intend fighting professional mixed martial artists who have less of a pedigree in the boxing game. Recently, Jake verbally challenged UFC champion Conor McGregor, calling him out and thinks it would be pretty entertaining to take the UFC champion down. "I'm bigger than Conor, I weigh more than Conor, and he's out of his prime. Sort of washed up," Jake said. Whether or not Conor McGregor takes him up on that, Jake said boxing is something he loves and sees more of in his future. "I just love it," he told Insider. "I see a huge future for me in this sport." "I'm not fighting to make money," Jake told Insider's combat sports correspondent Alan Dawson in an interview. "I'm fighting because I want to, and I love it," the 23-year-old concluded. "I wake up every day with fire in my belly," Paul once told Insider. "That's just where the passion, hard work and dedication comes from." Though Paul confirmed that the entertainment in LA is great, pointing to his other opportunities with YouTube, acting and music, but said, "Boxing just sits differently with me." In his interview with Dawson before his fight with Nate Robinson, Jake said he had to take a break from partying to push himself to train. "I really have to push myself outside of my comfort zone to do those sprints, to wake up on a Saturday morning when all my friends are in LA, out at clubs making music and having fun, and I'm up early, isolated, running sprints and nearly puking." In a recent viral video on social media, Paul showcased a check for $50 million and proceeded to call Conor McGregor a cunt and made offensive remarks towards his wife Dee Devlin. Speaking to TMZ, the YouTuber has come out to confirm, "Conor looked at my DM on Instagram and we're talking to his team. It seems like a super fight between them may not be that far off." If this ends up taking place, it would definitely add to the allure of the Paul family's boxing endeavours. Currently, his elder brother Logan Paul is set to face 50-0 boxing legend Floyd Mayweather in an exhibition for February of next year. However, McGregor currently has an MMA fight set up in the UFC against Dustin Poirier. This engagement is set for the next month of January 23rd and could potentially derail any McGregor boxing plans in the future. UFC President Dana White has even come out to say that McGregor vs Jake Paul will never happen and regarded the entire idea as ridiculous. But certainly anything can happen when $50 million is an incentive. Even if Paul's $50 million offer is real, there still remains the big question of weight. There is a huge weight disparity between the two boxers, with Paul competing as a cruiserweight, whereas Conor McGregor made his boxing debut at welter. It's also worth knowing that several other boxers have stepped up to call out Jake Paul. Earlier this year, Jake Paul staged an incident with boxer Ryan Garcia and made it seem as if the two were gearing up to set up a showdown. Additionally, female boxers Claressa Shields and Amanda Nunes have stepped up to call Paul out. A mixed gender boxing match with arguably YouTube's top rated star headlining would certainly make the boxing history books. As of now, boxing fans will have to wait and see what Jake Paul is able to cook up in the coming months.